the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for coming. Before we get too far, once again, in an effort to comply with our soon-to-be ADA rules, when I say Joe, I'm referring to Deputy Supervisor Joe McCann. When I say Ben, I'm referring to Councilmember Ben Garvey. When I say Jess, I'm referring to Councilmember Jessica Armburst. And when I say Ray, I'm referring to Councilmember Raymond Reyes. First on the list for tonight, we have two public hearings. And the first one is on 298 Ellicott Road. I will open this public hearing at 6:32. If anyone wishes to address the board on anything about 298 Ellicott Road, please step up to the mic and give us your thoughts. Seeing no one, I will close this public hearing at 6:33. And we have another public hearing on the property at 1627 Bailey Road. I'll open this public hearing at 6:33. And if anyone would like to address the board on that property at 1627 Bailey Road, please step up to the mic and give us your name and address and thoughts. Seeing no one, I will close this public hearing at 6:34. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes for the town board meeting of May 26, 2026, along with the abstract of claims from June 8th, 2026?
So moved.
Motion by Joe. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ben. Comments or discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next is audience one, an opportunity to address the board on any items on this agenda. If anyone would like to do so, please step up to the mic and give us your name and address and give us your thoughts.
Hello, I'm Deb Seaver.
I think you have to turn that on, Deb. I didn't turn on it. There's a little switch on the top. I can get it.
Where the silver part is, yep. Looks like it's on.
Hello, is it on?
I don't think so. I didn't turn it on. I didn't put it in there.
Oh. You're such a good techie. Okay.
Now we can hear
I would like to talk to the board about, I believe it's item B under new, no, it's item C under new business, the matter of a wheelchair van to replace the senior van, my understanding, to replace the senior van. I have driven the senior van for almost 15 years. It's a very good program. I wish we could put Mondays back on. I think the wheelchair van is a very bad idea. I know I myself am not physically able to do this. I have seen these vans in operation in many different medical facilities, and I have never seen one operated by a woman. They're big guys, and it's strenuous work. So I don't feel that I am physically able to do this, and I talked to Carrie Walzak, the other driver, and she feels the same way, I believe. I would like to know what the demographics are on these seniors in wheelchairs that need transportation. We have a comprehensive plan that possibly is in there. I think there needs to be more homework done on this. I also have a liaison with Lisa Camara's office, who oversees social programs, and he is looking into, I've heard a lot of conflicting things. One thing I've heard is that there are only wheelchair vans available. I've also heard that the county has mandated this. I find both of those things hard to believe. So I'm trying to look into it from the county end of things as well. I think it's a very bad idea, and I know that I personally cannot physically do this. And I would like to know, I'd like to know why this is happening and where it is coming from. Doesn't seem to make sense to me. So I would hope that you all would take a good hard look at this and consider all the angles of it. I can't see myself pushing heavy people and heavy wheelchairs in all kinds of weather. Remember, they have to get from the wheelchair into the facility, and there isn't a medical facility anywhere that will come out and get these people. I mean, it is strenuous work, and I know I'm not capable of doing it. So I'd ask you to please, strongly think about this and, maybe do a little more research on it.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
all right. Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no one else, we'll move on to unfinished business. Can I have a motion to approve setting a public hearing by the Aurora Town Board on June 22nd, 2026 at 6:30 PM at the Aurora Municipal Center, 575 Oakwood Avenue, East Aurora, New York, to hear the interested parties regarding the special use permit for a campground at 1196 Big Tree Road.
So moved.
Motion by Jess. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ray. Before we get into comments and discussion, I would like to ask our Assistant Building Code Officer if he could, give us some thoughts on this.
Thank you, Supervisor. So we did accept the application for this application for special use permit. During that application process, it was determined by our office that there was a conflict with regards to the interpretation of where the right-of-way is on the property. During the proceedings of the the planning board's review, the applicant and representative of the applicant requested our interpretation for this right-of-way dimension. We provided that letter on May 28th, which was provided to the board and to the applicant. So as of right now, this is an outstanding item that has to be resolved. The scheduling of the public hearing should not hinder the process of the application, regardless of whether or not the response to the interpretation via revised site plan or another means, whether it be through interpretation through the Zoning Board of Appeals or an area variance based on the aspect of relief from Section 116-25A in regards to providing a 50-foot allowance into the less restrictive zoning district. And that is all outlined in the letter. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Okay. So we're going to set a public hearing on something that doesn't fit the code for the site plan.
Correct.
Okay.
So.
Thoughts?
Yeah, so if we don't know what's the allowable use of the mansion, whoever comes before us to speak to this matter won't be able to do so intelligently, is kind of what I'm gathering. We wouldn't know what the outcome would be until we have a resolution to the right-of-way issue, which is the primary outstanding issue. Is that correct?
For a portion of what the application is being applied for, yes. So a person of interest could request clarification on such and could render their opinion based on the application as it stands currently, with that interpretation still pending. The applicant's response, whether it be, again, through revised site plan or via another means of appeals to that interpretation from the building department's office.
And we don't have a time frame for resolution on the mansion, is that correct?
That is correct. As of right now, it is in the applicant's hands in regards to how they would like to proceed and respond to.
So it seems the argument could be made that a public hearing would be premature until we know how everything's going to fall. I mean, I know that's not in your domain, Rich, necessarily.
Again, generally speaking, the board does not render an approval on an application at the time of the
couldn't
public
approve
hearing. Right. So,
I mean, we could
well,
approve having the public hearing, but we can't vote and approve.
I mean, you could deny it outright as a means to render your opinion on the application, but yes. So from the standpoint of public comment, they could comment on the application as it stands currently with that interpretation pending.
Because as of today, that's the ruling, but
Right.
it's in the process of being challenged.
Right.
So it's my personal opinion that it wouldn't, I don't see how we ask the public to comment on something that isn't fully fleshed out yet.
Would agree with you, Joe. It's like, what are we presenting?
Peter, would you like to respond to this?
Yes.
Please step up to the mic.
Peter Sorgi, on behalf of County Development. This issue, well, first of all, there is a determination, and that's the determination right now unless it changes in the future. And we don't have timing on that. If we decide to go to the zoning board of appeals, that's gonna take at least 60 days. If it went one way or another, any party can then challenge it to court. It could go on for, theoretically years. What the planning board did is, at the time when we were in the planning board recommended in favor of the 6-0. What they did is they said, look, we recommend in favor of it either way. So the difference is that it'll be 2 or 3 rooms will be allowed in the mansion, and the other ones will simply be vacant. It's just that simple. So you have that, or you have the other option in terms of the whole thing. So I disagree. Right now, you have a ruling in front of you. There's no appeal pending. There's no reason not to have a public hearing. The public can intelligently comment on it and say, it's either going to be 7 rooms or 2 or 3 or whatever the number is.
Well, they may, Peter, but, but we can't vote on it because it's not a legal application. We could vote no, but we can't vote
It's not a
favorably
legal
for it
application. The application was.
because it doesn't meet the code.
It does, what the code is, what they're saying is that you can use a portion of that. The only significance of that is you can only use a portion of that building. So if it is approved for a portion of the building, which is what the interpretation is now, that is what it is.
So we're going to go before the public, just to clarify.
Yeah.
We're going to go before the public and say 3 of these rooms are going to be used for sleeping quarters, 2 or 3, whatever the number is, and that's the plan before us, and that's what potentially we'll approve. And then in your experience, it could get appealed and it could change.
Yeah, as of right now, we haven't appealed it, so
So-
that's the ruling.
So the plan is, as it exists right now, is for 2 or 3 rooms to be available for sleeping quarters in the mansion.
Put a yellow line taped through the middle of the building, I guess. It's your interpretation, it's not ours.
Yeah.
We disagree with it, I'm not certain if we're gonna appeal it or not. But it shouldn't, if you said, oh, we have to wait till this is resolved, that could be resolved in 2 years. It could go to the ZBA, it could go to court, then there could be appeal to the 4th Department, then up to the Court of Appeals. It could be 3 years. So there's no reason not to move forward. The planning board was aware of this possibility, and we addressed it. They said, well, we recommended it approved this way or that way.
It's my understanding that this application states that in this special use permit that this building will be used for sleeping quarters. Now, if it's different and only half of that building is going to be used for sleeping quarters, I think that application should say that.
Well, then we can certainly amend it, but it does say that as a matter of law, because that's how they've changed the application essentially. Applications often get tweaked or, at the planning board level or with an interpretation like this. So we can certainly submit something in writing saying, due to the interpretation, it's now 2 or 3 rooms, whatever it is. That's not a problem. It doesn't change anything else on that plan, and we shouldn't be held up for it.
Wasn't there also a change to the number of parking spaces? I think it said
It would be
41 somewhere and 30 somewhere else.
The planning board recommended a reduction in the amount of parking spaces, but the plan currently shows more than what that reduction would be, so that wouldn't hinder that as well.
Your code says that the town board, we have got to show compliant parking, and we have enough room. The code says the town board, as a condition, can say, hey, we'd rather have less parking. We know that's what the code says, you don't really need it in this instance, we want more green space. And so we asked the planning board, we said, hey, we'd like you, we're compliant, but we'd like you to make this recommendation that, because we don't want more parking than we need, that there's less parking. And they said that, so that's really up to you. That's completed too. It's just that simple. And we submitted 2 plans. We submitted a plan showing the compliant parking and a plan showing the parking we believe the reduced parking, which they did recommend. So we have a complete application in. And if you recall, this also went to the planning board and then to the town board, then it's got sent back to the planning board. So we've been 4 or 5 months into this. There's nothing that's going to change, and we have not appealed that. We've not appealed that decision. So that's the law right now.
So I would just ask, because I'm not aware if you've ever had any correspondence with Liz in regards to her letter that you got on May 28th, but I would ask that you just respond indicating that you will adhere to the interpretation, and if certain sleeping units are not in that area, then they will be removed from the application so the board can
I mean,
rule
we
upon it.
can do that, but that's like me sending a letter to this police officer saying I'm not going to drive 150 miles an hour down the road. We're going to comply with the law. Right now, that's the law. Sure, I'll do it.
I think for clarity's sake for the board, I think that would help the process,
And we're not going to break the law.
that you,
All right.
understanding of that.
Yeah. So, the planning board didn't have an issue with one way or another, which to do. And we asked them to consider it based upon the 7, just because that's the, most intensive, if you will, and then said, by the way, it might be 2 or 3. We don't know.
So we,
Well-
go on, Chuck.
And we haven't appealed. So, I mean, there's nothing being held up right now.
First of all, you've had plenty of time to put that in a letter to us, Peter, to clarify that, that's for sure. But secondly,
Nothing to clarify.
how?
There's nothing to clarify.
Peter, don't play that game with me.
I'm not playing the game, I'm telling the
We've
truth.
talked about that line going through that building for 3 months and where it is, and you should get a surveyor to accurately delineate that. But anyway,
They
regardless of.
did that. She,
She did it with a ruler. She said that in her letter to you, or in her email to you.
yeah, I don't know if I saw that. Okay.
You
I
didn't
did.
see that. Well,
Oh, Chuck,
I
I get a lot of
did.
emails, yeah. But
I
mean,
will say that
what's
I'm
the-
not comfortable.
Because I
Rich,
haven't,
Rich, any further thoughts?
From the standpoint of what we've discussed so far, no. Obviously, again, there has been a letter that's been issued by our department that has been provided and received by the applicant. Based on the communications that we're having tonight, it would make the most sense to provide a response to that letter. So there's a clear indication of what rooms would be in compliance with the agricultural zoning district based on the right-of-way dimension provided therein.
And even if we all understand based on the discussion that we're having, the public doesn't. So the public is going to come to a public hearing, and they need to have the most accurate information as to what is being potentially approved, potentially.
we didn't.
So I don't see that as, being onerous or over the top. I think that that's a very reasonable
It's not
request.
onerous at all. It's not over the top.
Okay.
I don't see how it's required, but we will certainly do it.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is that the public, I mean, we'll explain it to the public. We'll say this and this. The public has access to these documents. This was not our interpretation. This was not, we didn't do this. We shouldn't be held up for it. I think your code requires you to have a public hearing within a certain number of days from a planning board recommendation.
Correct.
And that's what he's recommending, but I don't really understand, I don't understand the confusion. This is the interpretation that they made, period. That's the law as of right now. How does that change? We will send a letter saying we'll comply with it, no problem. And the
Yeah,
planning
I
board
mean,
recommendation is in line with that.
That's all it would take, because there's, as Rich said there,
Right.
all it would take is, because you could take this back to the ZBA and cut out that section and ask for a variance if you chose to. Or you could ask for,
Interpretation, yeah. We would go to the ZBA to challenge an interpretation, because it wouldn't be an area variance, it would be a use variance. But we haven't done any of those things.
I know,
So, I mean, there's nothing that requires me to, the process is, there's an issue at hand, we ask for interpretation because they said, hey, we need you to ask for interpretation. We get interpretation, we go forward. I mean, that's the process. It's not, I mean, there's not another step that says we've got to send a letter saying we're gonna comply. We'll do it, but we shouldn't be held up because we didn't do something that wasn't required of us. We'll
I
do
think
it.
the board is more likely, in my opinion, I think we were getting to, if we could have that letter and clarify for the public hearing, it would be much easier to move forward with the public hearing. So we could get to having the public hearing, should you not and say you're good with the letter.
I'll get it to you tonight, and if you don't have
Well-
it, call the public hearing.
before we go any further with that, Peter, that line through that building needs to be done by a professional surveyor so we know where it is. Liz did it with a ruler. She's not a professional surveyor. So we need to find out exactly where that line is.
We'll provide that to you. That won't take more than a day or two. But
Okay.
I did submit a letter asking for the public hearing to be set, and I'm quite sure all my letters at the end say, thank you for your consideration. If you have any questions, anything else you need, please let me know. Not, I mean,
This is nothing new, Peter. This has come up several times.
I have no idea what you're talking about. This is nothing new?
Where that line goes through the building?
I know, they've told you where the line is. Well, if you want a surveyor to provide it, we said in the letter, if you need anything else before to set the public hearing, let us know.
Okay.
Nobody let us know.
Okay,
But, so now we're gonna be delayed further.
yeah,
Yes?
yes. Well, it's up to the
Because we've
entire
not
board.
done something that we weren't asked to do and there's no legal requirement to do. Okay. Interesting. Anything else?
No?
Well, I think we should debate it a little bit more. We do have a motion before the board,
Yes.
so
A recommendation from him and
I got-
recommendation from the planning board.
I understand 100%. I was debating amongst the board. But, so the concern, if I understand it correctly, is providing, do we have two concerns? One is the obvious one, that the public comes before us knowing
Correct.
what they're debating, which is where I'm hung up, right? Can we clarify that information adequately prior to a public hearing? And how long before, what's the notice period? 7 days? Do we know off the top of our heads? If we don't, that's fine.
advertising?
Yeah, for whatever our public means of notice is.
I'll look it up.
I'm not sure.
But the standard in New York is 10 days before a public hearing, they should be able to have every document to review.
So there you go. So,
That's not the legal notice standard, that's just the standard of, someone walks in the clerk's office and says, I want a copy of everything 10 days before. So that's 4 days from now. That's not an issue.
and you could have the line drawn, you could, exactly where the delineation of that building is at the 300-foot,
According to their interpretation.
Right of way?
Sure. Yes, absolutely.
By a surveyor.
Andy Gow, Nussbaumer and Clark.
That'll do it.
But this is in the letter that was sent to you on May 28th. I'm not sure where that was a surprise.
It didn't-
Liz had suggested the surveyor at that point.
If
No,
it-
at any rate,
it-
that's,
It's, okay. But we can certainly provide that to you, right?
So are we going to approve that based on the timetable that we outlined here?
I think we should table this, or vote no on this, and then table it until the next meeting when we have all these documents in front of us.
That you just asked for.
I usually agree with Supervisor Snyder, but I think we vote contingent upon receiving documents needed to clarify for the public what exactly they're coming to comment on. We're not voting next week. We never vote during a public hearing. I think as long as the public knows what they're commenting on, I'm fine having a public hearing. And if subsequent to that, we're unable to vote for some reason, that's a separate issue.
Yeah, we
But
can
if-
still vote, yeah, no, right?
Yeah,
So, yeah.
And you don't have to put the legal notice in the paper until, I mean, if we have that 4-day window, you can still get the legal notice in the paper.
so it'll be contingent upon you getting us all the documents as requested, which you say is not a big deal at all.
Yeah, so apparently it's a letter saying that we're gonna comply or whatever, and it's the surveyor.
It's a survey and letter.
Per what.
Okay.
In the interest
What
of.
Yeah.
I think if
Everybody
it's-
good with that?
I think if it's clear that you're, not just that you're complying with the law, because I understand your argument that it's within the law, but that it's clear to the public what adjustments are being made from the application, parking, use of building, which portions of the building, and then the official survey, yes.
Sure.
If they're in time for posting for the public to have the opportunity to review them prior to the public hearing.
Okay, then I will revise this motion to add into that upon receiving a survey from a licensed surveyor and a letter from their attorney, from Peter, stating that anything on the roadside, let's say, on the roadside, what would you like that letter to say, Rich?
The letter should indicate that any sleeping quarters that are after the 300-foot designated right-of-way delineation are applied for under the special use. Any other rooms that are inside that are not to be under this application for sleeping quarters.
What he said.
That works for me.
Any further discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
It's 5 days, by the way. 5 days notice.
What's that?
5 days notice on the public hearing.
5 days. Oh, okay.
5 business days? Sorry. I withdraw the question.
McCann, come on.
Exactly.
She'll
Did we get dim over here?
Yeah.
Next, we have a presentation by Jerry Sense from Azar Design about the water issues that happened here a couple of months ago, 2.5 months ago.
Got it.
Hello, Jerry.
Thank you, everyone, for having me tonight. I'm Jerry Sensen with Azar Design. I've talked to many of you in the past over a number of different projects we're working on. As you know, Elma had an issue with water that directly affected the town, and I'm not looking at that actual situation and what happened in its timeline, but rather I was asked to look at the town of Aurora and how is water fed to various parts of the town, where does it come in, and how are you connected to the other towns. So my presentation, the town of Aurora water connections with its neighboring, and there's my laser pointer, and okay, you can see it. Thank you, Joe.
Yes. No problem. Are you ready?
Yep. So again, my purpose is really, I want to talk about the connections of the town of Aurora to all its neighboring municipalities. And then most importantly, I want to document, and I did document, an emergency call-out list so that if a portion of the town loses water or a portion of a neighboring town loses water, what is the effect on the town and what do you have to do to go ahead with that? Before I go on to the next slide, I will add that I spent, I think, some good research into this. I've been out into the field at least 4 or 5 times looking for different appurtenances. I've talked to town officials, I've talked to various village people. The Water Authority is probably sick to death of hearing from me. I actually sat in their office with a bunch of maps and kept asking them questions. They sent people out to try to verify stuff, so I think we did a pretty thorough job of now there's some good understanding. There was some misunderstandings between what did exist and what didn't exist or how it existed, and I've documented a lot of stuff in this. And really, this should become a record so that if anything happens, you'll understand it. And I'll get more into that later on. I'm jumping way ahead of myself. Okay, go ahead. I think my laser pointer turned off. So the first question is, who supplies water and in what means? So this map, my laser pointer doesn't work really well. This map is provided by the Water Authority. It's on their website. And if we go to the next slide, I blew into it. They have 3 different methods of supplying water. The first one, the blue one, which is the town of Aurora, is called direct service. And that means they not only supply the water, they maintain your water system, and they take care of the capital. So it's their system. It's not your water system. It's their water system. They handle all of it. Least managed is very similar, except that in a least managed area, the municipality pays for the capital, but the Water Authority still supplies the water and maintains the system. And then the last one is bulk sales. Bulk sales, they supply the water, that's it. The municipality is in charge of maintenance, the municipality is in charge of capital. The Water Authority does not have any mapping of their valves or their hydrants or their water lines or the sizes or connections. So it's important to understand that. This is kind of a blow-up of the town, so you get a good look at what your neighbors are. So the water system within the town of Aurora is the direct service. It's owned, operated, and maintained by the Erie County Water Authority. Now, that's a general statement because I'm going to contradict myself in a couple places.
all right.
There's a few contradictions, but from a big map,
For the most part.
100,000 foot view, it's mostly Erie County Water Authority.
Me.
Wales, Holland, and Colden do not have any water systems. And again, I'm going to contradict myself a little bit on that too, right?
Underground lake.
What's that?
Holland has its own underground lake.
I'm going to make some, yeah, Holland's got its own system, but there's a few little quirks to that. But in general, And there's no connections between those towns and the town of Aurora, except for one, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. It's not terribly important. Sorry, I'm going to make all these little statements, but it's important to understand the big picture. Orchard Park and Boston are least managed. And that's what I talked about earlier, where the Erie County Water supplies the water and they maintain the system, but those municipalities are responsible for capital improvements. So therefore, any connections between Orchard Park and Aurora are the responsibility of the Erie County Water Authority. If there's any expected loss of water, it's the Water Authority that has to handle it. It's their lines. Ray, you looked like you had a question.
No, I didn't.
Oh,
I was
okay,
just scratching my nose.
Okay, good. And by the way, if you have any questions while I'm going through this, stop me, say, Jerry, I don't understand, because I get kind of geeky on this stuff because I'm an engineer. Go ahead. So here's all my little side notes. So Wales, there's a small area that's supplied by the Aurora system. Okay, that's the way it is. Holland and Colden have small water systems and their own hamlets, but they're handled by themselves. They're not in there. And then I'm going to talk about a whole bunch of exceptions in Aurora in a bit.
Okay.
Go ahead. So Alma and the village of Aurora buy their water from the Water Authority, but they're completely responsible for their systems. They operate them, they maintain them, they do the capital work. The Erie County Water Authority really has nothing to do with Alma's system in East Aurora. The connection of Alma and East Aurora to the town of Aurora, it becomes very important. And you all are very interdependent on each other. You'll see in a minute that a lot of the water coming into the town comes through Alma. You'll see that parts of all of the village of East Aurora, the water is fed through the town. A lot of your water comes from Orchard Park. So there's a lot of, and I don't want to use the word interconnections, there's a lot of dependency between Alma, East Aurora, and the town of Aurora on each other. And that's why it's important that you understand all the little nuances, and I've come up with every little nuance that there is. Go ahead. So there's 4 connections between Alma and Aurora. The first, there's Bowen. I'm sorry, my laser pointer isn't great. There's Bowen and Maple, there's Girdle, and then there's this little piece over here, Stony Brook, Willardshire. There's also 4 interconnections with Orchard Park. And that's 20A, and that becomes important because that feeds the village.
Okay.
And then I'm going to talk about the village then also feeds a portion of the town. I'll talk a lot about that. There's Jewett-Homewood, there's Ellicott, and there's Bame Road. Now, Bame Road, and I didn't realize this until I sat with the Water Authority, and I don't think the Water Authority realized it until I sat with the Water Authority. Bame Road does not connect all the way to Davis. There's a former railroad line in there. It stops before the railroad line, and it comes up to the other side. There's a piece on the map about this big that doesn't connect. It's certainly in your best interest to connect that. Because if, let's say, for whatever crazy reason, Jewett-Homewood and Ellicott go down, now you're relying on only one source of water to supply all the water to the lower part of the town. That interconnection would be good to have done. Now, it's not your water system.
That's what I was going to be my question.
So who does it? Okay, Joe, then who does it?
The Erie County Water Authority.
Thank you. So, one of my recommendations is you should write a letter to the Erie County Water Authority and say, can we have this interconnection made? Now, as I sat in the meeting with them and they looked at the maps and said, this doesn't connect, they all said, you know, we should connect that. So they're aware of it. Your letter won't come as a surprise because they know I'm sitting here today. But it would be a good idea to ask them to make that connection. It's in your
So
best
Jerry, I
interest.
just want to clarify why is because back when the town put the water districts in, it was owned by the railroad at that time, and then it wasn't because of federal protections for the railroads.
Right.
So now the railroad has turned over the property to the rails and trails. So there was a reason why.
Yes.
But now, flash forward
Right.
20 years later, the reason's gone. So just so you understand that.
It would have been very costly to put the water line under the rail because you would have been jacking and boring. We're now.
I don't think they let them.
Who knows with the railroad? So that's one recommendation that I have is the more interconnections you have, the more redundancy you have, If something happens in one place, you can get water, what I call backfeeding it back around a different way. Okay, go ahead.
Water's meant to flow.
Yeah,
If it doesn't,
water will
it's
flow
stagnant,
anyway.
bacteria grows. Right. That's,
Right. So I want to talk a little bit about the section up here, up in Stony Brook, if I can get my laser pointer. So that is supplied by Alma, but it's an Erie County Water Authority system. It's part of the town. The town does not own it. Alma does not own it. The Erie County Water Authority owns it. They're responsible for it. However, there is no redundancy in that system. Something happens to that line, those people are without water.
no way around it.
There's no way around it. The Knox Farm area, their water, I'm sorry, I got this laser pointer that likes to turn off.
yeah.
The Knox Farm area is supplied from the former Buffalo Seminary site. The Water Authority believes that the seminary gets their water from the village, but was not able to confirm that. Chuck's nodding his head.
That's correct.
Yeah,
That is true.
they weren't able to confirm that. So it comes from the village to the former cemetery to these houses. Now, the seminary is sold, and I hope that the new owner, or there's something in their deed that says you have to supply water to all these people, because otherwise they're in big trouble. Three exceptions that I'm going to make, Ray, to my statement earlier.
Okay.
There are 3 streets which you own, maintain the water system. They're like the bulk sales. Remember the bulk sales thing? And that's Hickory Lane, South Herrick Road, and Mitchell Road. They are not part of the Erie County Water Direct Service. You own them. You're responsible for them. The town is aware of it. You do regular testing on it. You follow the New York State Department of Health guidelines. I talked to Dave. He's got here's where I do the testing, blah, blah, blah. You're all good with that. But that's my big exception to that beautiful map that you saw. It was painted in crayon, and these 2 little things don't come out as white dots. So.
And for the new board members, the Water Authority would not accept a private road. Chuck was here for that, but
Yep.
that's the reason why.
Right. Okay, so now let's get into some fun things. There's one connection into the village of East Aurora and one connection leaving the village of East Aurora. It comes in on 20A, and the picture here, you can't see it because it's too small, but that's Delavan Electronics. And that's the meter pit. So that's the water comes into there, into this meter pit, and then goes out into the village. That's the only source that the village has that's active. So think about how many miles 20A is. 20A, something happens to it, that's their main source of water in the village. At the end of the village, it comes out of the village, as I kind of showed a little bit, into the Castle Hill area, onto Cook Road and Lapham Road. So now let's go back. Orchard Park has an issue. Some contractor, let's say, breaks the water line. The village goes without water, and a portion of the town goes without water. Sounds like a problem to me. There is an emergency interconnection at Maple Road.
Yeah.
And again, the picture is very hard to see because it's small. It's much easier to see on my laptop.
It's real black. It's black.
Can't get any bigger than that.
That's the black guy.
Yeah, I should have brought my glasses, right? This hydrant that you can't see here is the famous black hydrant, right?
Just out, then that's the welcome to the village sign right there on
This is the
Maple.
welcome to the village sign. North is down here.
Yeah.
Right here, this blue, that's the valve. That valve is off. Water does not flow down Maple. It stops at that valve. That's why that hydrant's black. You can't hook a fire hose to it. Well, you could, but you're not going to get much out of it. Although Dave and I kind of debated that the other day in the field. We think the village is actually feeding that hydrant, and you would get some water out of it. But if there's a fire, there's another hydrant, and I'll show that in the next slide. It's 93 feet
Right, so
from this valve.
we dead end at that valve there.
I think it's 92.8 feet from this valve. There's a red fire hydrant. The red fire hydrant you use for a fire, the black fire hydrant you don't use. So that's the infamous black hydrant when you hear that.
The red fire hydrant is fed
From Alma.
from Alma.
That's correct.
It's fed from Alma.
That's
yeah.
the end of the
Yeah,
line.
this all
Yeah.
comes down from Alma.
Got it.
So that interconnection is there. And the reason I'm taking some time to talk about this is because in my research, I was told this interconnection did not exist. And you had to connect a fire hose from the red fire hydrant to the black fire hydrant. This does exist, and I'm going to show you some more documentation on the next slide, because I know you're just all dying to see this next slide.
All right.
If you ever needed it, you could put a fire hose on Porterville Road and connect it to the Pine Street extension. Now, there's no interconnection there now between the village and the town, and you would have to connect it with a fire hose. I think in the best interest of everybody, to have that interconnection would be good. Again, the more interconnections you have, the better. The Water Authority said that may have existed at one time, but it's not there now. You know, to have to mobilize, a fire truck and put on the hose and you blow off, and you have to do chlorination and all that. You probably don't do chlorination. You're probably going to have a boil water order at some point. Why not just do an interconnection with a valve and a meter box like you've got?
You can see each hydrant from each other.
And yeah, you can, well,
It's not that far.
depending on which one you do, you could also cut through the backyards and get to the next one. Go ahead, Ray.
Yeah, can I ask, why do we have a black hydrant there? Why do we have a dead end at that point? Why not just leave it open?
That's a blow off.
It's a blow-off.
It's a blow off
what
so
it's
that when you
meant to
turn the water on, you open it up and you make sure the water runs through and it's chlorinated, all the air's out of it and it goes. It really acts
Yeah,
as a blow
so
off.
AWWA standards, of course, we have dead-end roads everywhere, is every year you have to do a blow-off. Blow-off is because the bacteria slowly builds a tender line. So that is actually a blow-off is what it is.
It's a blow off.
But we suspect the village has left their valve open, that it's live right now, but we don't know for sure. So.
Well, the hydrant valve,
Well, they have a valve right on north in the village. that-
right at the very corner, there's
So,
another
But
valve.
we wouldn't know that without putting a wrench to it, but it really isn't our issue, it's the village's. So right now, currently, I think the village has left it live, but I don't know why.
And we don't know that the black hydrant's been exercised. We don't know if it's been, that's the village's concern. I don't
Yeah.
have that answer. I didn't ask. I didn't.
Theoretically, that should never have water in that section.
Yeah.
Right.
So those valves should be stayed. It's just the point is if you ever did activate the emergency
Got it.
line, when you were all said and done, you'd want to blow it off. So that's why Department of Health made us put a blow off. I say us because we used to own this up until 2015.
But I can tell you, the valve at north on that front lawn is open. Because when I talked to the Water Authority, there was a lot of discussion over which valves are open and which are closed. And they came out and looked at them. And again, that's not their valve down at north, that's the village. But they looked at it and they told me that was open. And then their valve here is closed.
But it was put in during that project. of
It
the
was put in it when it did the
So if you
interconnection.
look at their identical vintage, identical valve boxes.
Yeah.
But it is owned by the village.
It's owned by the village, and I agree with, in my opinion, it should be closed and that valve should be exercised. But again, I didn't get into what the village does. I'm concerned about
Yeah.
the town.
There you go.
So the interconnection on Porterville, in my mind, is a good idea. There's also not an interconnection at Lawrence Avenue. Although the Water Authority again told me they thought one existed in the past, but it's not there now. And I said, well, how did it go away? It doesn't evaporate.
Right.
Was a change made? Did somebody change a line and not make the connection? I don't know the answer to that. They don't know the answer to that. They just know there's not an interconnection there.
And to go back to your previous point, which I was called on, this is all the Water Authority system.
Well-
So this is, oh boy.
Well, wait a minute. This would be a combination of the town and the village,
Which, the Lawrence or the Pine?
both of them.
Okay.
Because it's Porterville to Pine, that would be the town system to the village system.
Okay,
So you're connecting the Water Authority to the village system.
gotcha.
Who's responsible for that one?
I'm not answering.
Okay, thank you.
Looks like the
I'm not either.
Transcontinental
Right, so-
Railroad.
Right,
What he's
yeah.
saying right at the
Somebody
village
else.
line on Lawrence
Yeah.
is like where Parish is.
I forget
Currently,
Pine Street
the village
extension is the village.
Line ends right
Yeah.
there. The town does have a loop through there, but you're right, it's not interconnected.
Yeah.
It's literally the next door neighbor.
So I don't know, you can, maybe you recommend to the village it would be a good idea to make that interconnection. It certainly behooves you to have that interconnection. But
you're-
again,
just
it's
be
not
clear,
your system.
You could feed off of that hydrant into Lawrence, the town side.
you could connect, the hydrants are a long way.
No, but I'm saying,
On Lawrence, you would have to put a pumper between the hydrants.
between the one on Porterville and the Pine?
No, Lawrence.
No, that's the same line, Jerry. I think you're wrong on that. That's the exact same.
No, there's two different pieces. There's Porterville's over here, and Lawrence is over here.
It's all the same, telling you. I'm
It-
just telling.
It's in the same system,
It's the
but,
same district.
Jerry,
It comes out to
let's
Gerb.
continue with. the
okay,
program.
we'll move ahead.
Am I moving ahead?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Now, this slide is here because, okay, so we're looking at the exact same thing. Hello, laser. We're looking at the exact same thing we were talking about. This is Maple. Here's the infamous black hydrant labeled. There's the red hydrant. I can't read that number, but I think it's 92.8 feet down to the valve, and that's the blue valve that's closed.
Yeah.
You know, so this is what they call the valve map at the Erie County Water Authority. Every single valve the Water Authority owns has a map, and everything is tied off. So if they go out in the field and they got to find a valve and it's covered over, they can pull a tie from this hydrant to this hydrant, and they can find the location of that valve.
Cool.
A little slower than that, but pretty close. So I asked for this slide just because, again, people had said when I first started this that line didn't exist, the interconnection wasn't there. I had some drawings, the drawings were difficult to understand. I asked for this map. This is my proof that the interconnection is there, but the valve is closed. And you'll notice in the big red box up here, which is too hard for me to read, it says the valve is closed. At the time, when I met with the Water Authority, this map did not say that. They did not know if that valve was open or closed, and they had to go out in the field. And I believe it was last Wednesday they went out, because Dave, you and I met Thursday to take some pictures, so they were just in the field.
They just painted it.
Late last week, they just painted it, because they weren't sure if this was open or closed. So we learned a lot. So the important thing to know is that valve is there. It could be opened so that the village could be fed from the town. If you were getting water, if something happened to your source, you could feed water up Maple. Now, there's not a pump there and it's uphill. I don't know what the pressures are, but at least you could get some water up there. There's no meter there, by the way. It's just a valve. So somehow, if somebody wanted, to even up for how much water you use, they'd have to make an estimation on how much water there is. There's no meter there. Okay, go ahead. So now this gets much easier. This is the Bowen Road connection with Alma. It comes down from Alma through this meter pit here and into the town. The meter pit was installed in 2021. I know it's not an exciting picture, right? It's a picture of grass growing. But I wanted to document its exact location so that if anybody questioned where is it, okay, you know it's in front of this, I think it's a gray garage next to the utility pole by the sign. Again, it's not your system. You're not going to be working on it. You're not going out there with the turning valves on and off. It's the water authorities, but it's important for you to know that's where it is. So next time you're driving down Bowen Road, I want you to all look for that garage and look at that and say, gee, that's the meter pit.
Wow. That's the meter pit.
That's one of the meter pits. Okay, next slide. Guess what this is?
Meter pit.
If you're on Maple Road, you're going to look for this meter pit. And again, I tried to capture the picture with the mailbox so you could see the number on the mailbox and you know where the meter pit is. I mean, you really can't miss it because it's a big silver thing. And I say that, but the one out at Delavan, Dave and I were out, it was a rainy day and we couldn't find it. We knew where it was and we couldn't find it. I'm so embarrassed. And then we went out a couple days later and it's like, how did you not see this big silver thing there? But we think maybe it was covered with grass or water. Again, this meter pit was installed in 2021. It's got both a meter and a shutoff in it. If you had to shut off Maple Road because maybe Alma lost water and you wanted to backfeed the town elsewhere, you could just, the water authority, could go out and just turn the valve, shut it off, you're good to go. Keep going. Girdle. Look, there's another one. You guys are really on the edge of your seats, aren't you?
I am. No, this is good. This is good.
Again, guess what? It's a meter pit. It was installed in 2021. It's got a meter. It's got a shutoff, same kind of thing. Go ahead to the next slide. I'm not going to get into what I was going to say. Okay, Orchard Park. There's 4 connections between Orchard Park and the town. I talked about it. They're all direct connections. They're all managed by the Erie County Water Authority. And again, BAME is not connected to Davis. there's no loop in that portion of the, of that portion of the system. And we talked about that already. Go ahead. Now, what happens if, let's say the village of East Aurora loses water. The first thing you do, the first thing anybody should ever do if there's a problem with water is call the Erie County Water Authority. I mean, if I haven't said it enough, it's their system. Now, it's not their system in the village, but there's things they can do to try to help the village to keep water flowing. Things that they can do. We talked about the emergency interconnections at Maple. Do you remember the black hydrant? How did you forget? Come on. So you can open the valve by the black hydrant. That'll put some water through. If you need to, you put a fire hose between Porterville and Pine. Again, I talked about Lawrence. Dave, you and I will get into that at a separate time, but I think you can run another line and connect. It's the same system, but you can put more water in if you came off of Lawrence. But you're going to need a pump, or you're going to have to pump it somehow. Let's say that Aurora somehow loses water. If either Bowen or Maple, if that source is compromised, you can shut that valve off and let it backfeed from the other side, because it's interconnected there. Now, you're going to get low pressure, right? You're used to having two lines coming in, and now you got one. You're going to have low pressure. You're going to order a, don't wash your car, shower every other day. I don't know, whatever. Don't water your lawn. But you can keep some water in the system until you can address what the problem is, get it fixed, and get the water back up. If Girdle loses water, your only workaround is connect Porterville and Pine. So again, I'm encouraging that interconnection between the water authority and the village happen. It's not your system, but I think that you can be influential in helping that happen. If any of the connections between Orchard Park get compromised, you've got 3 connections there. If one of them goes down, you can backfeed from the other 2. Again, you're going to have some low water, but you're not going to have none. Again, BAME is a dead end. If that gets compromised, you're out of luck. You need to make that interconnection. Go ahead. Now, all heck breaks loose. Alma loses all its water.
Never could happen.
That's right. Let you close off both valves at Bowen and Maple.
When you say you mean the water authority?
You, the water authority.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to make the phone call to the water authority.
Yes.
And now you're all educated, and you can say, here's my idea, and they're going to do what they want anyway, right? I'll compliment the water authority. They're very good. They know their system very well. They're really, really good folks to deal with, so, yes.
And do they have a copy of this and the recommendations?
They knew about that.
They have a draft of this.
Okay.
They don't have the final.
Okay.
I finished the final last night because with the information that I got Thursday and Friday from the water authority, I updated it Sunday and I sent it, so they don't have this.
Okay.
And your emergency manager people don't have it yet either.
Okay.
So you could then backfeed. So if they lost water, you could backfeed from 20A using the connection at Maple and North. Again, the black hydrant valve. Open that. You can get some water into the system. It may not be full water. You're going to have a low usage, low pressure, but at least you could get some water into the system. You wouldn't be completely dry. I mentioned earlier, if Elma loses water into Stony Brook, there's no loop. I don't know how you would loop it. You'd be running miles of water line to try to loop it. Those people are out of luck. Sorry. Go ahead. So, guess what? Emergency scenarios. Big black letters, bold letters. Erie County Water Authority is the only agency to activate any opening and closing of valves to backfeed various areas during a water emergency. Go ahead.
That's good to know.
Okay, somehow I missed part of a slide. I'll just talk to it. Okay, remember how the line comes through the village into Castle Hill area? And I said, if Orchard Park loses water, the village loses water, and the town loses water, what can you do about it? So the Water Authority says, well, there's the Center Road tank and there's the Castle Hill tank. Once Castle Hill drains, that area is in trouble, except they think that they can move different valves so that the Center Road tank will feed the Castle Hill tank, so it'll still feed that area. Is it easy to do? They said, I mean, we must have been 10 minutes going, close that valve, open this one, do this, do this, do this, do this. It's not an easy thing to do. Could it be done? I mean, is it going to take them longer than fixing what the problem is? Maybe. But, I mean, I'm thinking that's a 20-inch line running down 28. That's
Yeah.
a big line. That thing blows out. You're going to know it, right? I mean, you talk about surfs up, it's going to be a big problem. There is a way to backfeed into that area by changing a bunch of valves and have Center Road tank feed the Castle Hill tank.
It's because of the elevation difference.
Yeah,
Gravity
it's
pulls.
all kinds of stuff.
I didn't know the Castle Hill tank was still used. I thought that was an abandoned structure.
Nope.
That's good to know.
And by the way, I didn't get into tanks and pump stations and how this goes to this,
Yeah.
because you would have killed me and we would have been here till 10 o'clock tonight, so I didn't get into any of that. So here's what I promised you. This is the grand slide, Ray. This is what you wanted.
Okay.
What happens in an emergency? Who's the first one you call? The Erie County Water Authority. During the day, it's 685-8241. After 5 p.m. and weekends, 684-0900. If during the day you call 684-0900, where does it go? It still goes to their dispatch. So you don't really need the first number, but
Okay.
that number's the best. Then, if, you know, you should call the Aurora and the Village of East Aurora dispatch. And I don't know this, but dispatch, you know, if you called your dispatcher and said, there's a major water line break, blah, 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 they should know to call the water authority, your emergency manager, who should know to call the water authority, the deputy emergency manager should be aware of it, the supervisor should be aware of it, because who knows what's going to happen next, right? The mayor, of course, and both DPW should be aware of it. So somebody needs to talk to dispatch and make sure they know who all those people are and that that's part of their phone call tree if something happens.
So really, the only communication bottleneck is dispatch for whatever reason, but they're there 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. So as long as you know to call there, the rest of the phone tree should function.
So I can
Yes.
speak to that. My dispatchers will call, and they'll call emergency managers, and then they'll call the mayor and the supervisor. But at some point, that phone tree needs to continue, because if they're busy doing other things, they can't call 15 people to tell them there's no water. They're going to call the contact people and let them run it down the tree.
So they won't.
Do they call the water authority, though?
Water authority?
That's the first call they're going to
Oh,
make.
okay,
Yeah. But I mean,
missed that.
that's like 10 people, so they're going to
Sure.
call like 3
Understood.
main people, and it's going to have to go from there.
It's going to have to expand.
Now, if it's 3 o'clock in the morning and nothing's going on, sure, but if,
Understood.
say there's a water outage in the middle of a fire or something, there has to be some
If
level
there's a
of
water, if
double
there's a water
checking.
outage in the middle of a fire, you better start bringing tankers in.
Well, they do that in the other, the outskirting towns, so.
Start drawing it off the lakes like we do down south.
But yeah, they commonly will call Erie County Water and
And again, that's the most important call you make, because those are the people that can switch valves and do whatever else has got to get done.
Jerry,
You know, everybody else is so that we know what's going on, yes.
so the village loses water, and it's the Erie County water system that's going to feed the village. The Erie County Water Authority makes the determination to open those valves to feed the village, because it's not, the village has their own system.
The
So
village
who-
has their own system, but remember that the Erie County Water Authority is supplying the water.
Yeah, so it's
So
their call to
we're
feed the
going
village.
We're going to get you water, and we're going to open the black valve.
So the decision to feed, which obviously is a no-brainer decision, I'm not saying it has to be
Yeah.
considered, but the decision to feed the village rests with the Erie County Water Authority.
Correct.
Okay,
But I'm sure that the Water Authority isn't going to make that decision in a vacuum.
yeah.
I'm sure when all heck breaks loose and everybody's aware of it, there's, and again, depending on what it is, the level of disaster, there's got to be some kind of intercoordination. And to put a fire hose between Porterville and Pine, again, it's not the Water Authority is going to say, hey, we should do this, but there's going to be some communication, and obviously, they're going to have to get a fire hose from somewhere.
And the situation, I backed up on the slides, and the situation that triggers, before we even lose water, if we hear that Alma has lost water, we need to talk to the Erie County Water Authority.
Always.
And if you said if Orchard Park will be obvious if that 20-inch line breaks somewhere down 20A. So those are the two communities we need to be worried about, Orchard Park and Alma. If they have an issue, we need to be on the horn with the Erie County Water Authority
And the village.
and the village.
And the
Yeah.
village. And again, remember that slide early on when I said there's a lot of
Yeah.
interdependencies between the two?
But
Now, what's interesting is the Water Authority watches their system very well. And there have been breaks on that 20-inch line along 20A, and the Water Authority was aware of it before they got the phone call that said, we got a water main break on 28, because they can see pressures changing, they can see, they're monitoring tanks, how come this tank is going down at a rapid rate, how come I don't have pressure here, yada, yada, yada. They're already on it. But that doesn't mean, I don't have to call them, they're going to know about it. Make the call. 685-0900. Okay, so now there's a quiz. Any other questions?
What color is the black hydrant?
There's a lot of red in that black hydrant. It needs a good paint job, I gotta tell you.
How are we memorializing this, Jerry?
You have this,
Aside from a
you have
thumb
the
drive.
slide presentation. I don't know what else.
10
you
years
want.
from now, though, or 20.
Well, your emergency manager should have this, and he should be documenting in a response plan how the response should work. So a lot of what I have here should go in the emergency manager's plan.
I'm sure it will.
Then
I'm
what-
just
when
saying, how
there
do we
is-
last, because it's been 35 years or 40 years, as I recall, since we've ever come across this. And,
And the-
lots have changed in
Yeah,
40 years.
the problem is, we all win the lottery, we move away, the next group comes in and they don't know it.
No, but I'm just saying maybe
So-
it should be paper.
I can print this, I can make a report out of it, I'm not sure how you want.
Well, you did say you were going to send it to emergency response, though, right?
I will-
And Dan is working on
I-
an
yeah.
overall plan, correct?
And Dan was aware, I thought he said he was going to be here tonight,
Okay.
so, because I did text him and he said that he was going to be here, so I will send him a copy. I don't have his new email address, though, I still got his old sheriff.
I did let Mark Hartley know on Sunday too, so he must have had.
Yeah, if you give me Dan's, that would be great. I worked
Any
with him
other-
when he worked in the
Any other
sheriff's office.
questions?
No, this is
All
great.
set?
Riveting.
No,
Thank you.
Yeah. Could we get a copy
Sounds really
of
good.
this?
Sure.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll just save
I was going to say, if you want to save it, go ahead and save it.
and I'll distribute it.
I'd like my-
I have it on this.
You can have it. I knew you'd want your drive back.
It should be posted with the meeting materials on our website as well, right?
I don't,
Yeah.
well, this version just showed up today.
Right, but I mean, it
It
should-
will be.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, oh, there you
Yes.
go. Yeah, that's a good point.
Sorry, didn't mean that it would already happen, but
Yeah.
it should happen.
I think so.
Here, I'll disconnect. I'll save this.
Thank you very much, Jerry.
Nice
Very
work.
informative.
Thank you.
Thanks for doing this.
Certainly. It was fun, believe me.
I bet. It's like solving a mystery.
No, no.
Hang on.
Nice to see you, Jerry.
I'm going to grab it and then I'll get your drive right back to you.
All right, let's move on.
All right,
So did I.
6B. Can I have a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the agreement with the law offices of Heather Giambra for legal services listed and at the rates herein?
So moved.
Motion by Joe, can I have a second?
Second.
Oh, did I get that back?
You're good.
Motion by Ben, second by Joe. Comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next
What's that?
This one you or me?
is the senior van. Can I have a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the lease and services agreement with Erie County to operate the new transportation van for the elderly and special needs individuals as detailed?
So moved.
Motion by Ray, can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Jess. Comments or discussion?
Deb, I appreciate your advocacy, but even if we didn't have a single resident living in the town of Aurora today that needed wheelchair van services, we have to be ready for the next one to show up. We can't deny those services to our residents, and I understand your position.
Are you sure that the county does not provide that? Because
If you're going to comment, Deb, please come up to the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry. So I question whether or not, I know the county has wheelchair vans, and are you certain that they do not serve Aurora?
I am certain that us having a wheelchair van will increase the availability of wheelchair vans
That
for,
didn't answer my question.
well, yeah, maybe they would send one out. That's, I don't know. If there's 2 right now in the county, if we go to 3, that's awesome. If there's 10 and we go to 11, that's awesome.
So who's going to drive them?
Well, this isn't a question and answer.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was,
So-
out of respect to you, I was answering your earlier comments.
Yes. Yeah.
I wanted to address your comments out of respect.
Yes.
And
Any-
the supervisor's right. We're not in a question and answer
Yes.
period.
Right.
Any
Yeah.
other comments from the board?
I look forward to us reviewing policies and all the things that go along with the new van. And thank you to everyone who's been engaged already in pulling documentation, and I appreciate all of the information we've gotten from the county. So I think we're moving in the right direction for our community.
Yes. Anyone else? I will say that I met with the county, with Ryan, and went through the van and saw the whole process. I will say it's very well designed. I totally understand the concerns about pushing a wheelchair through through a little bit of snow or so on. I agree that is going to have to be something that we address. But the van itself is extremely well designed, and I think it's going to be a great help to those people that need it. And the lift is simple as can be. That truly is. So, any other comments?
No?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
No, I think we already have a second.
Next is a budget transfer for landscaping. Can I have a motion to approve adding budget line A 1620.202 Town Hall landscaping and transfer $30,000 of the general fund balance to cover the cost of the landscaping project? Budget amendment will be as follows. Add appropriation line A 1620.202 Town Hall landscaping, decrease line A 599 fund balance by $30,000, and increase line A 1620.202 by $30,000.
So moved.
Motion by Joe, can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ben. Comments or discussion? I just want to mention that this is the $30,000 that was held back from our contractor when we finished this building because we discovered knotweed at that time. So that's where this $30,000 is coming from. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I was going to try and put it in your pocket.
Next is the budget transfer from our town clerk, Jeannie Vigier. Can I have a motion to transfer $200 from line A 1410.413 to line A 1410.405 to cover additional mileage training?
So moved.
Motion by Jess, can I have a second?
Second?
Second by Ray. Comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is a computer surplus. Can I have a motion to surplus 3 Dell Optiplex 9020 computers, Town of Aurora, inventories numbers 2166, 2153, and 2154.
So moved.
Motion by Ben, can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is a new hire for the highway. Can I have a motion to approve the hiring of Christopher Rhodes, residing at 1475 Center Street, East Aurora, to work as a regular part-time employee for the Highways and Parks, and a starting date on or after June 9th, 2026, and at a pay rate of $21.60.
So moved.
Motion by Ray, can I have a second?
Second?
Second by Jess. Comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Another request to hire. Can I have a motion to approve the hiring of Christopher Kaufer at 779 East Main Street, Apartment 1 in East Aurora? His hourly rate will be $18 an hour and starting on or after June 9th.
So moved.
Motion by Joe, can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ben. Comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is a request from Chris. Can I have a motion to approve changing Karen Lazikis from clerk typist part-time to clerk typist part-time seasonal for 5 months beginning June 20th. This change enables Karen to work more than 19 and a half hours in a week, allowing for better office coverage. The change to the seasonal complies with the Erie County personnel regulations and does not negatively impact the budget, and this for a period of time until November 20th, when she will change back to the clerk typist part-time.
So moved.
Motion by Jess, can I have a second?
Second?
Second by Ray. Comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And lastly, can I have a motion to authorize a stipend of $5,000 to Elizabeth Cassidy for being the responsible person for all the forms and paperwork regarding the $758,000 New York Forward grant that the town was awarded, and payment for this will come out of those grant funds.
So moved.
Motion by Ben, can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Comments or discussion?
Thank you, Liz, for taking this on.
Could we be
Hallelujah.
more? I've seen these forms, and there's a lot of them. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Under communication and reports, I have the continuation of the Erie County Community Development Block Grant Consortium, Parks and Rec from March of 2026, Parks and Rec from April of 2026, the Dog Control Report from April of 2026, the work requisitions for Buildings 2 Highway, and the Calls and Complaints Report to Parks and Rec. Business from board members. And we'll start with Deputy Supervisor McCann.
Thank you, Supervisor Snyder. First, I want to report a successful Pride event that we hosted over the weekend. We had a lot of attendees. We had assistance from the Highway Department. Jason was fantastic. Johnny on the spot. Whatever he asked him to do, he got right to it. Appreciate it. I appreciate the police coming out and supporting, and my fellow board members, and it was and our deputy clerk was there. It was a good event, and I just want to emphasize that this is about supporting our kids. It's the GSA club from the high school that approaches us and asks us to do this, and it means a lot to these kids that the community embraces them and welcomes them and lets them know that they're not different, So that was good, and I could see the emotion. Our keynote speaker Kevin Deese, I think sometimes you lose focus, right? You're just doing it because it's a good thing to do, and then when he spoke, it nailed it. I got emotional, frankly. Anyway. The other thing is, a certain supervisor at the last meeting told me not to give up the ship on AEDs, and I got a call from our county legislature, Lindsay Larigo, today, and the county will be paying for 2 new AEDs, one here and one at the West Falls Public Library. So we're going to get that taken care of and get moving on it. So
Awesome.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we made that effort, and thank you to her for working on it. I had actually communicated with her legislative assistant a couple times. It was a project, but they got it done. So appreciate it.
Great. Thank you, Joe. Councilmember Garvey.
Pride was a great event, and thank you for all your work putting that on. It was great to get out and see that. And Scoot Around June is off to a pretty good start. We've got almost 100 people that are officially signed up. We've logged almost 300 miles at this point. We have 10 businesses that are participating locations that are offering prizes for patrons who scoot to their location throughout the month. And registration is continuing. So if you bike around, if you walk around, if you scoot around, and use that form of transportation, log it. It's not too late to sign up. Any businesses that want to participate, feel free to reach out and email me and let me know, and we'll get you all set up and registered to do that.
Great. Thanks, Ben. Councilmember Armbrust?
Last meeting, I gave the report on my visit to the library board meeting, and we all received the letter from our library director, Paula Osberger. What I couldn't share at the last meeting, she was waiting for it to be finalized, but they received the $20,000 grant for the study pod. That's from the Western New York Library Grant Program that's powered by the Ralph C. Wilson Foundation. They will have a study pod later this fall. The effort is to expand opportunities for outside of school learning for tweens, teens, and young adults. And that is what the pod will be used for. Ray and I have a sewer district meeting to attend tomorrow morning, and I believe we've got some information on the 42 North lighting to talk about. Oh, yeah. All right. More to come. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, speaking of more to come, we had a great meeting last Thursday here, talking compost. We had Luke Wachensky, Mayor Luke Wachensky, and Jeff Stoll from the village, David Gunner, Ben Garvey, and Joe McCann in attendance as well. And we had presentations from Erie County Environment and Planning, Tyler Hamilton, and Shashti. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce his last name because I'll mangle it. But they had a great presentation about, excuse me, a pilot program that they want to do with 5 municipalities. And as part of that, what we'd be able to get is a joint organics management program. We would be able to jointly have the pilot program. And today, Luke and I did talk, and we feel very comfortable with the fact that we have a site for collection, which would be the village DPW. And Mr. Gunner said that he would be willing to transport the materials. And a late development that I've gotten from Erie County is the fact that we had thought that we'd have to transport this material to Alden. He's saying he's going to do some research and see if there are places that we can take it, because it doesn't necessarily have to be a composting facility. So we're going to investigate that and determine whether or not that makes sense. So we might be able to save you a few miles. And then engaging with the community, Climate Smart Community Task Force and Open Space Committee to do outreach and education so that we let the town and village residents know why this is important and what the benefits are for the entire community. So we'll be able to do that. And then Erie County will be able to design the educational flyers and also offer tabletop totes to collect the materials so people can take it to that facility. So what we would have to do, and Luke is, committed, Mayor Wachensky is committed to doing it in conjunction with us. What we would have to do, and I have a copy of one from the Village of Alden, is to send them a letter of commitment. So we would send a letter of commitment, the village would send a letter of commitment. We'd be considered one municipality. So Alden's first, we'd be second, and they do have 3 others that are interested. So that would fill up. So we'd be among the top 5 in Erie County participating in a program like this. We also had a presentation from Farmer Pirates. Farmer Pirates, if you don't know, they're basically a commercial composting outfit. They do collect, they do charge. They also have areas where you can, leave your compost, and they turn that into material that they sell. So, and that's in the city of Buffalo. So the discussion I had with Luke today is potentially somewhere down the road, maybe we'll be able to partner with them as well. But let's get an early win in, the collection of organic materials and, move forward from there. So that's what we're looking at.
Awesome.
Okay?
Thank you, Ray.
Okay?
I would just like to mention that in a dispute with our new mayor, Mayor Washensky, we decided we asked how are we going to solve this problem? And it was decided that we would have a cornhole contest between the village and the town. And that will be happening on June 20th at 4 o'clock at Hamlin Park. There will be hot dogs and pop there, and so, come on out and watch us win, but there's a lot on this. There really is a lot, so, if you know some people who are excellent cornhole players, let us know, because we need 8 players. But again, that's June 20th. It's going to be a fun time. The mayor and I are going back and forth. It's a good time.
We'll bring some tissues to help dry their tears.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. And actually,
Looking forward to it.
in the emails today, Ben caught a mistake that the mayor made in the date, and, and I reminded the mayor of it, and I told him just what you said there, that we already get 1
We get 1 point for
So
that.
we're already winning.
Yeah.
We're
1
already
point
ahead.
awarded to the good
Do you
guys.
hear that, Luke? We're already ahead. All right. Audience 2, if anyone would like to address the board on anything? Seeing no one, staff reports, and we'll start with Highway Superintendent Gunner.
Nothing tonight.
Nothing tonight.
Any good concerts lately, or?
Oh, sorry.
That was uncalled.
Chief Welch?
Yeah, police department's planning for the Heart of Music Festival coming up this weekend. We're again going to be graciously receiving assistance from the New York State Police, and the Orchard Park Police Department. They really help, fund it or man the event, because we recognize that we still have a duty and obligation to supply the same service to the entire town throughout that day, and the village does take up a lot of resources. So by them coming in and assisting us, it really helps spread things out. Beyond that, spent the entire day interviewing for the next police officer position. We have a vacancy. Narrowing that down, we'll be making a decision soon and asking for that appointment. Also, filling a part-time public safety dispatcher position in the near future. That looks like that will happen with a town resident. Last week I attended a law enforcement technology summit and found out I need a lot of money for a lot of different things coming down the line, so I'll be coming back later to ask for that. And as far as training goes, officers this week are going to be at the East Aurora Fishing Game Club. They graciously host us twice a year for firearms qualifications, and our officers will be doing that in the high 80-degree heat. I see next week's going to be 70s, but it always falls like this. And then lastly, he was here, but now he's gone. Police Officer Alex Pierce was a recent transfer in from Rochester Police Department. He's got 3 months with us now, and he's been selected to replace Lieutenant O'Hara as our department firearms instructor, and he'll be attending training for that next month in Cortland. It's a 2-week course, but it's a necessary thing to have a firearms instructor on the force, and that's the closest one that the state's offering in the next 6 months. So he's going to spend a few weeks in Cortland. And that's all I have.
Okay. Assistant Code Officer, Enforcement Officer, Rich Migo.
I don't have anything this evening, thank you, though.
Rec Director, Chris Pasaban.
Yeah, so we just opened up our pool, not this past weekend, but the weekend before. We ran through orientation with our lifeguards, reviewed rescues. I was able to certify 15 of them over the course of the weekend. I was also able to recertify our day camp staff with CPR for the professional rescuer, along with Megan Tent. For those of you guys who know, I recently went to Strongsville, Ohio to a Red Cross Academy to become a water safety instructor trainer. So I did pass that, and now we are able to not only offer the certification for lifeguards, but now we are able to offer water safety instructor certification for all of our staff. So I'm one of 3 in the Buffalo area that is now able to do that. So that's really great for us. In terms of the pool, we got about 700 people signed up as members, so we're off to a really great start, and the weather really hasn't hit yet. And then just to mention, in terms of the senior van and offering a wheelchair option, I think that's an excellent opportunity for us as a town to really help our seniors age with dignity. A lot of our seniors here, they've had their families move away, and they just don't have the ability to drive or get the rides that we have. So to be able to do that, I think, is really important. And we are one of the pilot programs for Erie County, along with, I believe it's Lancaster. Right. So really, really great stuff coming along the pipe for recreation. So appreciate all your support.
Zoning Board Chair, Paul Ernst.
I have nothing. Thank you.
All right. With that,
Whoa, we got
But
a
Doug-
planning board chair.
sorry, Doug, didn't see you back there.
That is fine.
Planning Board Chairman Doug Crow.
One of the things that one of my side jobs that I do for you guys is I'm the town representative to the Erie County Environmental Management Council. It's a volunteer advisory board for the County Planning Commission in terms of environmental issues. We're actually meeting with the county executive tomorrow. We have an annual recommendation report that we publish every year, and we're going to be reviewing that with him. The expansion of the composting project that Ray was talking about is something that they've been doing already for county facilities, and they're expanding it to the municipalities, and there are a few other ideas that we're recommending they do. So maybe we can get some more movement on some other topics that will help the environmental movement within the whole county. So just so you're aware. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Okay. Rod, anything?
No, nothing.
With that, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Joe, can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ben, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Productive meeting, I felt like.
Hopefully that's the longest.
I'll go.
Hang on.